Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. So it's very nice to be in front of you here today. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this gathering. It's a holiday. Young people today are usually outside of the masjid, enjoying their time of school or time of work or time of university. But you have made the conscious decision to come here to the house of Allah, to learn about His deen, to get closer to Him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept it from you. Don't think that you are here today because of your own doing, but rather it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you tawfiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved something about you, some sincerity that you had in your heart, and therefore He willed it that you're going to spend tonight or a portion of the night in the masjid with righteous believers listening to talks about Allah and His Messenger. So with that, we say Alhamdulillah. Now, I consider myself very young too, like many of you, inshallah. But maybe slightly older, and maybe slightly wiser. And, it hasn't been many years since I was like you, sitting here in the masjid, listening to the talks, taking part in the activities, and, getting ready for college, and then getting ready for university, and then now career, family, children, and all of that. And through this journey, I've picked up a few tricks, a few advices, a few things that I have benefited from in terms of transforming myself. And as an older brother to a group of younger brothers, I want to share 6 pieces of advices that I have picked up along the way. What I don't want is for you to go home today and think, mashallah, those were very nice talks, and then you return back to the type of life that you were living before. All of us can change, including myself. We should all be seeking out opportunities to improve. And inshallah, these are 6 valuable advices that I have benefited from. And inshallah, in a very short talk, I'm going to give them to you. And I want you to pay very close attention, concentrate, and memorize these 6 points. And if you live by these 6 points, I believe, inshallah, from this room, we're going to have leaders of our ummah. We're going to have people who transform our societies, transform themselves, our communities, and our societies. The Prophet ﷺ says in hadith, نِعْمَتان مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ. That there are 2 blessings that many people are deceived by. الصحة والفراغ. Good health and free time. And when you're young, you have a lot of good health and you have a lot of free time. And it's those 2 swords, you can say, double-edged swords, that can either destroy you or you can use that to, inshallah, build a successful life. Your good health and your free time. You might think that you're going to be young forever, but trust me, as soon as you leave university, the first thing on your mind is going to be what? I need to get a job. And then when you get your job, what's going to happen? Your boss is going to decide what you do with your time. Before you were free, you can sleep, you can play games all night with your siblings, and then wake up very late in the morning and do what you like. But as soon as you get that job and you've got your career, then 9 to 5, every single day for the rest of your life. It's like a life sentence, brothers. Like a life sentence. And you only realize the free time that you had once you're in that life. And then what will happen? Then you, inshallah, you will get married. And then what will happen? You'll get children, inshallah, with Allah's tawfiq. So then 9 to 5 you're working, and then after 5 o'clock you're working as well. Because when you come home, you're going to have all these little children demanding your time. And then you look back and say, subhanallah, I remember Boxing Day, I was sitting down in Islam Masjid and the brother was telling me that my time is limited, and now I've realized. But maybe it's too late. Maybe now you can't make the changes that you could have done when you were young. So inshallah, let's jump straight into the talk. Point number one, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. That every single action is by its what? intention. Our deen is not a deen of zombies. It's not a deen of zombies where you just walk around and mindlessly just do things. But it is a deen of purpose. Everything you do must be purposeful. Everything you do must have a vision and an aim. And when you have that, then the action transcends this dunya. And it becomes a limitless ajr in the akhirah. Just by a purpose, a vision, and an intention. The reason why I say this to young people is first and foremost, don't just go through life like a robot. Everyone else is wearing a certain type of clothes, I'm going to wear it. Everyone is listening to a certain type of music, I'm going to listen to it. Celebrities are doing such and such things, therefore I'm going to do it. Don't be a sheep. Use your brain. The Prophet ﷺ asked you and commanded you to use your mind, to discover a purpose, to question why. Why is it that society is telling me to behave in such a way? Why is it that I have to become either a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant? Have a purpose. Think about it. What is it that you can do to transform your life into ibadah? A lot of the times what happens is you're 16 years old, you pick a couple of subjects, you go to college, you go to uni, you finish everything, and you just do what you're told to do. And your whole life passes you by, you look back and say, what have I achieved? Yes, I bought a house. Yes, I bought a car. Yes, I've established myself in the dunya. But what have I left behind? So you need to have this type of thinking where you just don't do things because everyone else is doing it. Think. I'm only here once in this dunya. I'm only 16 years old once. I'm only 18 once. I'm only 19 once. I'm only 20 once. You're only going to get these 6-month holidays or 4-month summer holidays once in your life. So sit down and think and reflect and make a plan. That's point number 1. Have a vision. Be purposeful. Don't just go with the flow. Most of the young people I see today, we are just going with the flow. And you will waste your life, brothers. Wallahi, I'm saying this as your older brother. Heart to heart. If you stick by this, then you will find that you will make the most out of your youth. Don't go with the flow. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Be the one that stands out. Be the one who says, why? Why do I have to do that? So that's number 1, inshallah. Memorize that, brothers. Number 2, start building your iman instead of boosting your iman. Start building iman instead of boosting iman. A lot of times I remember when we were young, I'd go to a talk and the speaker will give a very nice, fiery talk about, Palestine. And then for 1 week, my whole life is about what? Palestine. And that's the only thing I can think about. And then I go to another talk. And then the speaker says, you must learn the Arabic language. Then my project on Palestine had to pause. Because now Arabic language is the most important thing in my life. So for 1 week, non-stop Arabic language. Signed up to 5 different courses. Was able to attend only 1 session of 1 course. And then you watch a video clip on YouTube that talks about tahajjud and the virtues of tahajjud. So then what? 1 week of tahajjud non-stop, no sleep. And then completely passed out for 2 days, sleeping for 48 hours. So this was our lives as young people. Jumping from one iman booster to the next iman booster. Jumping to another iman booster. Being very emotional about how we plan our lives. It's good to have some boosters here and there. But a booster is only a booster. However quickly when you went up, as quickly you're going to come down again. So start building iman instead of trying to boost your iman all the time. Yeah? What do I mean by building iman? Building iman is less exciting. It's less fun. It's not as electrifying as a charismatic talk. It's not as emotional. Building iman is having a strict habit every day. Even if it means 5 minutes of Qur'an every day, no matter what. After every fard, I'm going to pray my sunnah no matter what. I don't care. It might even hurt for you. You might have to force yourself to sit down and do it. But trust me, that is Iman. When you force yourself and build a habit, that is Iman. Especially your salah. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. There's certain habits, if you build that, then it will build further habits for you. As soon as your salah is strong, then it will stop you from all of the other bad habits and all of the evil that you might have in your daily routine. So that's advice number 2. Yeah, build Iman habits and don't rely on Iman boosters. So every day, if you want to transform yourself, if you're serious, brothers, that I want to transform myself, then from tomorrow, the day after Boxing Day, you're going to write down on a piece of paper that I'm going to have this habit that I'm going to stick to every day. And then after you've successfully built that habit, then you're going to have another one you're going to build. And then you're going to keep on doing that. And in 10 years' time, you're going to be a completely different person. That is how you transform yourself. Okay? So do this tonight. Don't let the time slip by. Go home, sit down and think, what is my purpose? What am I doing? Why am I going to college? Why do I go to the masjid? Why do I have certain friends? Why do I do everything in your life? Ask the question why. Number 2, build those Iman habits. And trust me, in 20 years' time, you'll look back and say, Alhamdulillah, that I acted upon this advice. And you will pass it on to your children. Okay, number 3. So we've done 2, we've got 4 more advices to go. Number 3, have a lifelong project with the Qur'an. Lifelong project with the Qur'an. So with part of that, one of the habits is that you need to have a habit with the Qur'an. What do I mean by that? Number 1, reciting the Qur'an. So we mentioned reciting 5 minutes a day. Your tongue should become used to reciting the Qur'an. Memorizing the Qur'an. Make a plan to memorize the Qur'an in your life. Doesn't have to be in 2 years, doesn't have to be in 5 years, doesn't have to be in 10 years. It could be 20 years. It's a 20-year plan. Trust me, brothers, 20 years will go just like that. Yeah? So, some of you might be young thinking, 20 years, I'm going to be old by then. Probably a granddad by then. But trust me, you will become a granddad and it will be very quick. Yeah? So, memorizing, reciting. And the next one is, I see your face and you are all intelligent people. You're going to read lots of books and pass many exams in your life. Yeah? But don't let your life go by except that you've learned the Arabic language and you can understand the beautiful words of Allah directly without anyone in between translating. Imagine there's someone that you want to be close to. You want to strike a relationship with. You want to know them. But then you have a translator in between. So you say something, they translate, goes to them. They say something, they translate. What kind of relationship is that? Trust me, your brain is sharp now. You have time. If you're disciplined enough, Arabic language is easy to learn. Very easy. Takes a small amount of discipline. And I guarantee you, there will come a time when you're at university, when you're at work, and you're feeling low, or you have a doubt about Islam, or you're having a challenge in your life. And because you've learned the Arabic language, you open up any page of the Qur'an, and the Qur'an will speak to you at that moment. It will penetrate your heart, and then it will go and give you the guidance that you needed at that time. It will save your life. The Qur'an will save your life and your Iman. So make a commitment, you're going to learn the Arabic. An approach to the Qur'an that the Sahaba had. Today, we do injustice to the Qur'an. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they didn't just recite the Qur'an. They didn't just memorize the Qur'an. They didn't just understand the Qur'an. But they lived their lives around the Qur'an. They lived for the Qur'an. They called towards the Qur'an. And they established communities that breathe Qur'an. That take guidance from nothing but the Qur'an. Every other guidance to them is low. And the guidance of the Qur'an is up here, on every level of society. That is the Sahaba orientation of the Qur'an. So that's why some Sahaba, it took them 12 years to memorize one surah of the Qur'an. Why? Because they learn one ayah, they learn its explanation, and they will practice it and act by it and live by it. The Qur'an has this ability to transform you because it's the words of Allah. So that's advice number 3. Advice number 1 was what? Intention, purpose, vision. Number 2 was what? Building Iman, not just boosting. Yeah. Number 3, lifelong project with the Qur'an. Lifelong. Not 5-year, 10-year, lifelong. And I've given you a long list of things you need to do. So that will take your whole life, trust me. Yeah, to recite it, to memorize it, learn the Arabic, to act upon it, to call towards it, and inshallah die upon it. That is a lifelong project with the Qur'an. And that is how the Sahaba lived with the Qur'an. Today, people have a superficial approach to the Qur'an that does society, communities, and themselves no good at all. You have to have this recipe with the Qur'an, and then you'll see some type of transformation. Number 4, Jama'ah. Number 4, Jama'ah. Community. Don't be a hero. What do I mean by that? Don't be a hero. Don't think that you can save the whole world by yourself. Yeah, so remember, don't be a hero. Don't think that you're one of those movie characters that can save the whole world all by themselves by giving out a couple of tweets and a couple of Facebook statuses, even if 100 people like your status. Khalas, they will go back to sleep and tomorrow they will be the same people. But the only way you can transform yourself and transform your community is to be around other Muslims, to be around the Jama'ah of Muslims, whether that be your local area, whether it be here in this masjid, whether it be at your university, wherever there's a community of Muslims, you need to be there. You can't be by yourself. Because as soon as you're by yourself, shaitan will come to you through what? Through your phone, number 1. Through the direct messages on Twitter, through Snapchat, through the other day I learned a new one, was it? TikTok. Yeah, through all of these different types of apps, shaitan is going to come to you. So you must be around good people, good friends. Yeah? And when you're with good friends, what will happen is you will find people who've been on the journey before you, who've had 5, 10 years more experience than you, and they're going to mentor you. They're going to tell you, look, listen, just as I am telling you today, these are the mistakes I made when I was young. Don't make those same mistakes. If you want to apply to university, what do? You go to the people who've already done it, and they will help you. If you want to go to a certain job and career, what do? You go to people who are established there. Likewise, in Islam, you need mentors. You need to be around people who have done what you are doing now, way before you, and then they will advise you. They will keep you balanced. They will stop you from making mistakes. Always be with the community of the Muslims. Good friends, good mentors, and help them, let them develop you. Let them make you a better Muslim. Learn Islamic knowledge with them. And go on a journey of the Qur'an with them as a group. And that's why, I grew up in Islam Masjid here. And MYN, the organization that organized this talk, they are an organization that will help you with that, young brothers. Every Friday, come downstairs, there's a talk, and you'll feel that community, that brotherhood. So important. If you're not part of a community, then it's a recipe for destruction. You will go off on a tangent, and you look back and say, this is where I made my mistake. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ says that the lone sheep, the wolf, for those of you who like watching those, David Attenborough programs, what does the lion do? Does the lion jump right into the middle of the herd? Or does the lion wait for the weak one to leave the jama'ah? And then they pounce. Likewise, shaitan is waiting for you to leave the community of Muslims. And then he will pounce. Right? So that is advice number 4. So quick recap. Advice number 1, purposeful. Have a vision. Number 2, Iman, building Iman. Number 3, lifelong project with Qur'an. Number 4, community, jama'ah. Yeah? Number 5, widen your horizons. Widen your horizons. Put yourself outside of your comfort zones. What does that mean? Travel. I encourage brothers to travel. Learn Islamic knowledge. Travel in your summer holidays. Be in an environment that you're not familiar with. It will grow your character. It will make you more balanced. It will help you mature. Read a lot of books. I know we're in a generation that, if anything's more than 100, 140 characters, then it's, TLDR. Yeah? Too long. Can't read that. That's why, your brain is not getting the stimulation that it needs to widen your horizons. Personally, I don't read any news, and I don't watch any news. I don't read any news. I just read 2 magazines. Yeah, 2 magazines that analyze what's happening in the world. One is The Economist and the other one is Foreign Affairs. That's much better for me. And I'm not saying you have to read the same magazine, but I'm saying read, especially things that make you think, use your brain, expand your horizons. Part of it, widening your horizons, is also having real relationships, meaningful relationships with others. Facebook friend isn't a friend. Trust me. Twitter follower is not a real friend. A real friend is someone you can walk into his house, his mum knows you, his dad knows you, you can open up the fridge, get the milk out and make yourself a cup of tea. That's when you're in the house of a real friend. I think our generation, we're actually forgetting what friendship actually means. Friendship isn't just going out for a restaurant meal and having some banter. Real friendship is that real relationship that you have. You're there for the brother. You are actually there for them. The family knows you. Both of your families know each other. Yeah, so build real relationships and work with people. Work in teams. Don't be a hero, like I said before. So that's number 5. And the last one, inshallah, and we'll finish with this, is that be a real man, and if the sisters, be a real woman. Real man, real woman. Don't look at yourself as a young boy or a young girl. The Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, anyone above the age of 15, they considered a man, an adult. And they offered him that same respect. So offer yourself, first of all, that type of respect. Don't disrespect yourself by looking down on yourself as a young boy. You are, and in front of me, I think most people are sort of 15, teenager type of, and above. So all of you are men. All of you are adults in the sight of Allah. What does it mean to be a real man? Anyone? We'll finish off with this. Any quick definitions? Have a beard. Okay, that could be following the sunnah of the Prophet. But if you're struggling in that department, inshallah, you can still be a real man, inshallah. Yes, responsibility. Not just taking responsibility, feeling responsibility. When you go out the masjid and you see the state of our streets, what other people are up to, the young people, if you're a true adult, a true man or a woman, you'll feel a sense of responsibility. You feel responsible for your community and your society. You're not just another passenger. You're a driver. You feel responsible. What can I do? All of the problems and the challenges, how can I solve them? How can I help? That's what it means to be a real man. But today, the culture that we have been brought up with is one of individualism. You mind your own business. Don't look at anyone else. In case they smile at you, then you might have to smile back at them. That type of individualistic culture, Islam doesn't teach us that. Islam says that smiling is a charity. Islam tells us how to treat our neighbors and the relationship we should have with them. Islam teaches us about community, about society, and about being someone who feels responsible. Having integrity, that was mentioned by the last speaker. Having courage. And the most important thing about being a real man is having values and principles that never change. No matter what, the values and the principles we inherit from our tradition, you take it in your heart and it goes with you wherever you go. That is the true marker of the strength of your character as a man. And inshallah, you carry that with you, you will, inshallah, change hearts. Allah will change hearts through your efforts. If you are that walking, talking principles, values feeling responsible over your community. This is the type of young people we want. So we'll end it here, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to first give me the ability to practice what I said, and all of you. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.